On this part, we're going to still use the ngFor. We're going to use the ngFor in the movie details page because we want to clean up that page as well. Now in the movie details, you can see that we have the stars, we have the directors, the genres. And since we have the same HTML element, we can just clean them up. Like for example, in here we have 3 list items. We can just use one list item and iterate in that list item to show the other star names. The actors the same, the reviews, and similar movies. So let us start with the first part in here, which is stars, directors, and genres. In Visual Studio Code, I'll just go to the detailed component. And then in here, I'm just going to create the stars. Star 1 name. We're going to have the star 2 and star 3. Now let us also have the genres. We also have the actors. Let us go to the HTML. So new we have the iframe inside a col MD6. And then on the other col MD6, we have the stars, the directors, and the genres. So in here, let us just change the actors to be directors. And then here, director 1, 2, and 3. In here, we want to iterate in a list item. So what we need to do is that in here, I'll just add an ngFor. And then let star of stars. And then since we have an array which just has a value, I'll just display the star. I'll remove the other items. So now you can see that I have a single list item. Let us do the same for the directors. On the list item in here, I'll just copy this part. And then just paste it in here. Change this star and stars to be that director of the directors array. And then just show the director in here. And then let us also do the same for the genres. In here, paste them in here, and then change that genre of genres. And then in here, just genre. Let us save the changes and go back to the app. You can see that now in here we have the stars, we have the directors and genres, but instead of hard coding everything, we're using ngFor. Now for the actors, you can see that we are using just the actor image, the actor name, and role. So let us go to the movie actors component. And here I'll just go to the Explorer and then go to details actors. Let's open the HTML and also the TypeScript file. Just close this one. Here on the actors, you can see that we have the image URL. I'll copy this one. And here I'll create an array that will be called movie actors, which is an array of type any. And then in here, we're going to have all the elements. Like for example, the image URL is going to be this one. Then we are going to have the actor name. So the name, and then the role, which is going to be just role name or just role. Now I'll copy this multiple times. Control C, just paste it in here. I'll scroll up and collapse the movie actors. I'll save the changes in here and I go to the HTML. Here you can see that the main component is figure. So we are going to iterate through the figure. I'll just remove the other figures from here. I keep just one. And then on the figure, I'll just type ngFor. Let movie actor, or just actor of movie actors. Let us update the source. For that, we need to use the square brackets, and then in here, actor.image URL. Then we have So double curly brackets and then actor.name. And then down here we have the actor.the role. Let us save the changes, go back to the app. You can see that this section is fine as well. So next, let us do reviews. And for reviews, you can see that we have the rate out of 10. We have review 1. We have the review itself, the review author, and how many people found it useful out of the total people. So let us just go back to the app. Here now we need to go to the other component, which is the details reviews. So we have the HTML and then the TypeScript. Let's collapse this one. I'll just go to the HTML. So in here we can see it's an accordion. And in here we have the first thing is the rate. So the rate, I'll just type in here. Movie rates. This is also going to be an array of type any. Here we're going to have the rate, which is for example 7.5. Then we're going to have the number of the rate, but since we are iterating in a for loop, we don't need to provide the number in here. So next we have the value. So the review. Then we have the author. Then we also had the 100 persons found it useful out of 120. So useful count, let's say 100. Total count, let's say 120. So let us just copy this a couple of other times. Just basically 3 times and paste it in here. Scroll up. So we have the movie rates. I'll copy the movie rate name. Come to the HTML. Now in here we are going to iterate in the accordion item. We can remove the other accordion items. All these other items can be removed. We just collapse them. Yeah, okay. And now in this item, I'll just type ngFor let rate of rates, and I use the values in here. So I'll start with the rate value. So that is going to be rate dot. The property name was, let me just open the property name. It was a rate out of 10. And then we had the rate value. So inside p tag, we're going to now have rate dot. Let's see what the property name is, review. We have the author, rate dot author. And then down here for the 100, we have the rate dot the useful count out of the rate dot total count. Let us save the changes and let's go to the browser. And here you can see that even though we have added the rates, all the rates are opened by default. And another problem is that we have the review 1 for all of them. So let us go back to the code one more time. In here now, after the rate, I'll just add semicolon and then define index is equal to the index. So I is going to be the index of the iteration. And here the index will start from 0. So what we need to do is that after the review, I'll add a dash before, and then I'll add double quotes. And then in here, I'll just type I plus 1. So it starts with 1. Another thing that we need to change in here is that this show in here can be removed. So they are not opened by default. Now I'll just save the changes and go back to the app to see if we have any other issues. So now you can see that we have all the reviews. We have review 1, 2, 3. So we have fixed the first problem. But if I click in here, all 3 are open. And that's because the ID for all of them is identical. So let us just go back one more time. And then in here, what I'll change is that I'll change the IDs in here to have a spar meter also the index. So here, let us start with the collapse, for example. In here, now, instead of having collapse 1, we want to have collapse 1, let's say 0, 1, 2, based on the number of elements that we have in here. So for that, I'll just add what we have in here in double quotes, in single quotes. And then after the single quote, I just want to add the I. And then, of course, now, since we are trying to pass data from the ngFor to this property or to this attribute of this button, you need to define that this is an attribute. So for that, square bracket, then attr, which stands for attribute, and then close the bracket in here. And you can see that we have added the attribute for the target. Now, let us also add to this one. So for that, I'll just type in here attr, and then controls, the same way. This is going to be the collapse 1. And then after the collapse 1, I'm going to add plus I. Let's see, wherever we have collapse 1. Okay, we have it in here as well. Now on the ID, all you need to do, just use parentheses to pass the I as the parameter. Save the change and go to the browser. If I click in here, you'll see that just the first one is being opened. And when you click the second one is being opened. You can see in here that we still have a problem. So if you refresh the browser, you're going to see that the arrow is up, which assumes that this is now open by default. So let us just go back to the code and try to fix this one as well. In here, to fix that error, here on the button, we have the class accordion button. I'll add another class, which is collapse. Save the changes, go to the browser. You'll see that now all the items in here are collapsed by default. The last section is the similar movies. And in the similar movies, you can see that we have just the movie title and the rate of the movie. So let us go back to the code one last time. In here, if I go to the HTML file, you'll see that we just have the image URL. So I'm just going to copy. And then in here, I'll just type similar movies. This is also going to be an array of any. The properties are going to be image URL. Then we are going to have, you could see that we had the title. So the movie title. And the last property was the rate. So let's say 9.5. And I'll just copy paste so I can add more items to this array. Now let us save the change in here. I'll copy the similar movies, go to the HTML. Then here I'll remove all the figures. And then I'll iterate in the figure component. So ngFor, let similar movie of similar movies. On the image, we have said that if you want to pass a value, we need to use this square bracket. So now that's an attribute. So similar movie dot image URL. Then we have the title. So in double quotes, we have similar movie dot title. And then in here, we also have the similar movie dot rate, and then I'll save the changes. Now, let us go back to the browser. You can see in here that we have the 3 similar movies. And if I just go and add more items to the array, then all the similar movies will show up in here. So let us just go and do that. So let's add 3 more movies. In here, I'll just copy what we have and paste them twice. Let's save the changes and go back to the browser. You can see now that in here we have more similar movies.